Welcome back to our channel, World of Coins. As you knew that old is gold, but these Kennedy half-dollar coins that are most valuable than you think, don't spend one of them. Who knows, a single coin could make you a millionaire overnight. You're lucky if you have one of these, so please watch complete video and find your treasure. Let's start this. Top 1. Today, we've got something truly special for you, a coin that is as iconic as it is valuable. It's the 1988 Kennedy half-dollar. A coin that could be hiding in your collection or even in your pocket right now, and if you're lucky enough to own one in pristine condition, you might just be sitting on a small fortune. Now, when most people think of coins with great value, they usually imagine rare, ancient pieces, golden doubloons, or coins from far-off lands. But what if I told you that a coin minted just a few decades ago, right here in the United States, could be worth more than most people make in a year? Stay tuned, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how much the 1988 Kennedy half-dollar could be worth today. Let's start by talking a little bit about the Kennedy half-dollar and its place in U.S. coinage history. First minted in 1964, this coin was issued to honor the late President John F. Kennedy, who was tragically assassinated in 1963. The Kennedy half-dollar became a symbol of his legacy and the nation's mourning. It was designed by Gilroy Roberts, the chief engraver of the U.S. Mint, and it features the profile of President Kennedy on the obverse side, with the famous image of the Liberty Bell on the reverse. The 1988 Kennedy half-dollar, like many of its predecessors, was produced in large numbers for general circulation, but over time, collectors began to notice something interesting. While most of these coins were used for everyday transactions, some were produced in mint conditions that could be incredibly valuable. The 1988 edition in particular is known for being in the middle of a transition period at the U.S. Mint, where certain errors and variations in the coin's design began to emerge. Let's dive into what makes this coin so special. Unlike other coins that were part of regular circulation, the 1988 Kennedy half-dollar had a limited number of coins that were struck with subtle errors that make them particularly rare and valuable to collectors. For example, some of these coins were struck with slightly off-center designs, creating a unique look that is hard to come by. Others were minted with inconsistent details in the engraving, causing a distortion in the image of Kennedy or the eagle on the reverse side. These errors are rare, and when discovered in excellent condition, they skyrocket in value, but that's not all. The 1988 Kennedy half-dollar was minted during a period when the U.S. Mint was experimenting with different types of metal blends. Some coins contain slight variations in the composition of copper and nickel, which can make them stand out in the marketplace. When collectors spot these differences, they know they've found something truly special. What makes this coin even more fascinating is its potential for increasing in value as time passes. While these coins were initially produced in high quantities, it's the coins that were well preserved, kept in excellent condition, and free from the usual wear and tear of circulation that command the highest prices. In fact, collectors are constantly on the lookout for coins that have been carefully stored, as they often carry a significant premium over those that have been heavily circulated. Now, let's talk about why the Kennedy half-dollar from 1988 is so highly sought after in the world of numismatics. The rarity of this coin, especially in uncirculated or near-perfect condition, is what makes it so desirable. Many of these coins were handled, used in everyday transactions, and over time, they became worn, scratched, and damaged. But a coin that has remained untouched, perfectly preserved in its original state, is something special. In fact, it's these coins that can fetch incredible sums at auction. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just beginning to explore the world of rare coins, the 1988 Kennedy half-dollar is one that should be on your radar. So, how much could it be worth? Hold on to your hats, folks, because a pristine, error-free 1988 Kennedy half-dollar could be worth a jaw-dropping $58,000. Yes, you heard that right, $58,000 for a single coin that you could have stumbled upon in your pocket change or found tucked away in an old coin jar. That's the kind of value we're talking about here, but remember, not every 1988 Kennedy half-dollar will be worth that much. The key is in the condition and any unique features it may have. A well-preserved coin with a rare minting error could set you back a small fortune, but one that has been worn and circulated won't have that same value. So, the next time you come across a Kennedy half-dollar in your collection or see one in a coin shop, make sure to take a closer look. It might just be the lucky find you've been waiting for. And if you've got one in great condition or with any of those rare minting errors, you could be sitting on a potential treasure worth thousands of dollars. Now that you know the incredible value of the 1988 Kennedy half-dollar, take a moment to check through your coin stash. Who knows? You might just find the next big thing in the world of numismatics. If you enjoyed this video and want to stay up to date on all the latest coin discoveries, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you won't miss out on any future videos. Top 2, we're diving into a coin that's part of American history, a coin that represents both the past and the future of the United States. If you're a fan of rare finds, historical treasures, and of course, valuable coins, you'll want to stick around for this one. We're talking about the Kennedy half-dollar minted in 1776 to 1976. Now, you might be thinking, that's an interesting time frame. And it is, indeed. This coin was struck to commemorate two major milestones: the 200th anniversary of American independence and the life and legacy of President John F. Kennedy, who was tragically assassinated in 1963. These coins were part of a special bicentennial series, and as we'll explore today, they're more than just pieces of history, they're highly sought-after collectibles that can fetch some serious money in the market. Let's go back to 1976 for a moment. This year marked the 200th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. In honor of this monumental occasion, the U.S. Mint released special bicentennial coins. The Kennedy half-dollar received a redesign, and it's this coin, minted with the inscription 1776 to 1976, that has become a favorite among collectors. At first glance, the design of this coin might seem simple, but it actually holds a lot of meaning. The obverse side of the coin features the familiar portrait of President John F. Kennedy, but with a twist. The reverse side, which is where the real magic lies, showcases a bold redesign, a colonial-style drummer boy, symbolizing the American Revolution and the birth of the nation. Surrounding this image are the dates 1776 and 1976, reminding us of America's fight for freedom and the incredible milestone the country had just reached. Now, let's talk about the key factors that make this coin so valuable to collectors. While these coins were minted in large quantities, over 200 million were produced for circulation, there are some variations and unique characteristics that make certain 1776 to 1976 Kennedy half-dollars incredibly rare and desirable. The first thing to note is the condition of the coin. Like any collectible, the value of the Kennedy half-dollar increases significantly based on its condition. A coin that has been carefully preserved, free from scratches, dents, or signs of wear, can command a higher price than a well-worn coin, but condition is just the beginning. Some of the most valuable Kennedy half-dollars are those with minting errors. These are coins that were struck with imperfections during the minting process, creating one-of-a-kind pieces. For example, some coins were minted with off-center designs, where the image of the drummer boy or the Kennedy portrait wasn't perfectly aligned. These errors make the coin stand out and increase its rarity, which in turn boosts its value. Additionally, there were slight variations in the way the coins were produced, especially when it came to the composition of the metal. Some of the coins from 1776 to 1976 were struck using a unique copper-nickel alloy, while others were minted with a 40% silver content, making those silver coins particularly valuable. Silver coins are always in demand, and if you happen to have a 40% silver Kennedy half-dollar from 1976, you might have just found a hidden gem. Let's not forget that these coins are also part of a special bicentennial set. Because of the unique significance of the year 1976, these coins were eagerly collected, and many were stored away in pristine condition, making them even more valuable today. The combination of historical significance, special minting processes, and rarity has made the 1776 to 1976 Kennedy half-dollar a coin that collectors treasure. But how much could it be worth? Well, here's the exciting part: if you have a rare, well-preserved, error-free Kennedy half-dollar from 1776 to 1976, it could be worth as much as $69,000. Yes, you heard that right, $69,000 for a single coin. Of course, this kind of value is typically reserved for coins that have been kept in exceptional condition or those with unique minting errors, but it's still an eye-opening number. So, how do you know if you have a coin worth that much? First, you'll need to inspect the coin closely. Look for any imperfections or inconsistencies in the design, such as a misaligned image or a strange texture on the surface. If the coin has been kept in pristine condition, it might be worth sending it off to a professional grading service to get an official appraisal. With a little bit of luck and a sharp eye for detail, you could have a small fortune right in your hands. If you're a collector, the 1776 to 1976 Kennedy half dollar is definitely one coin you'll want to keep an eye out for. Whether you find one in your spare change, discover one in an old coin jar, or decide to hunt for it in a local coin shop, make sure to check the condition and the details. It might just be worth much more than you expect. So there you have it, folks, the 1776 to 1976 Kennedy half dollar, a coin with rich history, unique design, and an incredible potential value. If you're lucky enough to own one, or if you find one out there in the wild, you could be holding on to something worth a lot of money. Top 4, we're diving into something truly special that you may have overlooked, the 1992 Kennedy half dollar. You might think this is just another ordinary coin, but trust me, there's more to it than meets the eye. This coin, while it may seem relatively modern, holds hidden value that could surprise even the most experienced collectors. If you're a coin lover, stick with us because by the end of this video, you might just be checking your coin collection, or even your pocket change, hoping to find this elusive treasure. The 1992 Kennedy half dollar is not only part of a well-known series of coins, but it also holds rare qualities that make it highly desirable to collectors. You'll soon find out why this coin could be worth far more than you might think, so let's take a closer look at what makes the 1992 Kennedy half dollar truly one of a kind. Let's start with the basics. The Kennedy half dollar was first minted in 1964 to honor the late President John F. Kennedy. It quickly became a symbol of respect for a leader who was tragically assassinated just a year earlier. Designed by Gilroy Roberts, the coin features a profile of Kennedy on the obverse, with the eagle on the reverse, a symbol of strength and freedom. The Kennedy half dollar has been a staple of American coinage ever since, but what makes the 1992 version stand out in the eyes of collectors? For starters, while this coin was produced in large numbers, it's the specific characteristics of the 1992 edition that set it apart. Unlike the earlier years, which had large mintages, the 1992 coin is considered a bit more scarce. This is partly because fewer people were collecting half dollars in the early 90s, and the coins were in circulation for only a short time before being replaced by other denominations. However, rarity alone isn't what makes this coin so valuable. The key to its value lies in its condition, as well as a few unique features that make the 1992 Kennedy half dollar a treasure for numismatists. As with any coin, the value of the 1992 Kennedy half dollar depends heavily on how well it has been preserved. Coins that were used in circulation have often been worn down, scratched, or tarnished, making them less valuable. But finding an uncirculated or near-perfect coin can significantly boost its price. So, what should you be looking for in a 1992 Kennedy half dollar? First, check the overall condition of the coin. The highest value coins are those that have remained untouched and pristine over the years. A coin that's free of any noticeable wear and tear could be a major find. The 1992 Kennedy half dollar is relatively common in circulated form, but in uncirculated or proof-like condition, its rarity increases dramatically. But there's more: minting errors can make this coin even more valuable. In the world of coin collecting, even the slightest imperfection can make a coin worth a lot more. For example, some 1992 Kennedy half dollars were struck with misalignments, double strikes, or even partial missing elements from the design. These are all considered minting errors and are highly sought after by collectors who appreciate their uniqueness. A Kennedy half dollar with any of these minting mistakes could make it a truly one-of-a-kind piece. If you come across a coin that has an unusual or off-center design, it might just be a rare error coin, and that can make a huge difference in value. Another interesting aspect of the 1992 coin is its composition. The Kennedy half-dollar was produced with a mix of copper and nickel, but some coins were struck with slight variations in the metal composition, which can lead to an interesting change in their appearance. These subtle differences can make the coin even rarer and more desirable for collectors, as they stand out from other coins of the same series. So, just how much could a 1992 Kennedy half-dollar be worth? You might be surprised to learn that a well-preserved, error-free example of this coin can command a stunning price in the marketplace. In fact, a 1992 Kennedy half-dollar in pristine condition or with a rare minting error can be worth as much as $53,000. Yes, you heard that right, $53,000. That's the potential value for a coin that many people wouldn't think twice about in their pocket change. Of course, not every 1992 Kennedy half-dollar is worth that much. The true value depends on the coin's condition, any minting errors it might have, and whether it has been professionally graded. If you're lucky enough to come across one of these rare and valuable coins, it's worth having it appraised by a professional. A high-quality, error-free coin with a clean, sharp strike can fetch far more than its face value. So, the next time you go through your coin collection or find yourself flipping through some loose change, take a closer look at the 1992 Kennedy half-dollar. With its unique history, potential minting errors, and scarcity in great condition, this coin could be much more valuable than you ever imagined. Top 4. We're diving into the fascinating world of the United States of America Kennedy half-dollar from 1991. You may have seen this coin before or even come across one in your collection, but do you know just how much it could be worth? Prepare to be amazed as we unravel the mystery behind this iconic coin and discover why it could be worth a jaw-dropping amount of money today. Stay with us until the end, and we'll reveal the shocking value of this piece of American history. Let's begin by taking a look at the background and history of the Kennedy half-dollar. This coin, first issued in 1964, was created to honor the late President John F. Kennedy after his tragic assassination in 1963. The half-dollar was chosen to be the tribute coin, and its design remains iconic to this day. The obverse features a portrait of Kennedy, while the reverse showcases the U.S. presidential seal. The Kennedy half-dollar quickly became a symbol of national mourning, as well as pride and remembrance for the president's legacy. Fast forward to 1991. The United States was in the midst of significant political and economic changes, but the Kennedy half-dollar remained an essential part of the country's coinage. Despite being produced for circulation, these coins weren't as widely used in daily transactions as other denominations, leading to the preservation of many in near-pristine condition. While the Kennedy half-dollar isn't one of the most well-known coins in U.S. numismatics, it certainly holds a special place among collectors. By 1991, the coin had already been in circulation for decades, but finding a coin from this year in perfect or near-perfect condition is a true rarity. The coin's relatively low circulation, combined with its enduring popularity, makes it a sought-after piece for serious collectors. Now, let's talk about the design of the 1991 Kennedy half-dollar. The obverse, as we mentioned earlier, features a striking portrait of President John F. Kennedy, designed by artist Gilroy Roberts. The image of Kennedy was based on a photo taken shortly before his assassination, and the portrait conveys a sense of youthful determination and grace. The reverse of the coin displays the U.S. presidential seal, designed by Frank Gasparo, which includes a bald eagle holding a shield, a banner reading E Pluribus Unum, and 13 stars symbolizing the original 13 colonies. But what truly makes the 1991 Kennedy half-dollar stand out in the world of coin collecting? It's all about condition, rarity, and a few special variations. While the Kennedy half-dollar was minted in large numbers over the years, the 1991 version is one of those coins that stands out for its condition. Because many of these coins were in circulation and spent years in people's pockets, the majority show signs of wear, making high-grade specimens rare and valuable. What really elevates the value of a 1991 Kennedy half-dollar is its uncirculated condition. If you're lucky enough to find one that has been well preserved, free of any scratches, dings, or discoloration, it could be worth far more than you expect. Coins in such pristine condition are highly coveted by collectors, who are always on the lookout for rare, well-maintained pieces to add to their collections, and it doesn't stop there. Some collectors may also be interested in any possible minting errors or unique characteristics that set a particular coin apart. This could be anything from slight variations in the design to inconsistencies in the minting process, which can result in a coin that is truly one of a kind. These coins are particularly valuable and can sometimes fetch much higher prices than their standard counterparts. Now, we've talked a lot about the rarity and condition of the 1991 Kennedy half-dollar, but what's the real value of this coin? You might be surprised to learn that if you have a 1991 Kennedy half-dollar in top-notch, uncirculated condition, it could be worth a staggering $45,000. Yes, you heard that right, $45,000. That's the value of a well-preserved, high-grade 1991 Kennedy half-dollar, which is highly sought after by serious collectors. If you happen to come across one of these in your coin collection or in a random batch of change, you might want to take a closer look. A coin like this could turn out to be worth a small fortune, and you wouldn't want to miss out on the opportunity to make a significant profit. So, if you're a coin enthusiast or a seasoned collector, the 1991 Kennedy half-dollar should definitely be on your radar. With its rich history, iconic design, and the potential for impressive value, it's a coin that deserves attention. Keep an eye out for this gem in your collection, and remember, a well-maintained coin could be worth far more than you ever imagined. Top 5 and last rare coin, we've got a truly fascinating find for you, the 1972 Kennedy half-dollar. Now, you might be thinking, it's just another coin from the early 70s, but trust me, there's much more to this particular half-dollar than meets the eye. If you're a serious collector or just someone who loves to learn about the fascinating world of numismatics, you'll want to stick around for this one. The Kennedy half-dollar was introduced in 1964 to honor the late President John F. Kennedy, and it quickly became one of the most iconic coins in U.S. history. By the time 1972 rolled around, the coin had already been in circulation for almost a decade, but it was still a fresh and highly respected symbol of American strength and history. The obverse features a portrait of President Kennedy, designed by Gilroy Roberts, while the reverse showcases a powerful eagle, representing freedom and power. But what makes the 1972 Kennedy half-dollar so special? At first glance, it might look like any other coin from the series, but there are some factors that make it stand out in the world of collectors. First, let's talk about its rarity. While the U.S. Mint produced millions of Kennedy half-dollars in 1972, the reality is that a lot of them have been heavily circulated and are in poor condition today. The coins that have survived in pristine, uncirculated condition are becoming increasingly rare, and as a result, their value has soared over the years. Now, you might be wondering, what exactly makes the 1972 Kennedy half-dollar so valuable? Well, it comes down to a few key factors: condition, minting errors, and metal composition. Let's break it down. The first and most important factor when it comes to the value of any coin is its condition. A well-preserved coin in near-perfect condition can be worth much more than a coin that's been worn down through circulation. Most 1972 Kennedy half-dollars you'll come across will show signs of use, scratches, dings, and discoloration. But if you're lucky enough to find one that's uncirculated, it could be worth a significant amount more. But here's the kicker: there are also some very rare 1972 Kennedy half-dollars that have minting errors. These imperfections, which occurred during the coin's production, can turn an ordinary coin into a highly valuable collectible. Some of the most common errors you'll find on the 1972 Kennedy half-dollar include double strikes, where the coin is struck more than once, creating a blurry or overlapping image. Another popular error is off-center strikes, where the image isn't perfectly aligned on the coin. These minting errors are highly sought after by collectors because they are unique and can never be reproduced. The 1972 Kennedy half-dollar also has a special composition that adds to its value. While the majority of half-dollars produced after 1970 were made of copper-nickel, some earlier half-dollars, including those produced in the 1972 series, were made with a 40% silver content. This makes the silver version of the 1972 Kennedy half-dollar much more valuable than its copper-nickel counterpart. Silver is always in demand, and if you have one of these silver coins, you could be sitting on a treasure. Now, you might be wondering just how much a 1972 Kennedy half-dollar is worth. Well, the answer depends on the coin's condition and whether it has any unique characteristics or errors. But here's the exciting part: the value can be much higher than you might think. A rare, well-preserved 1972 Kennedy half-dollar could be worth as much as $67,000. That's right, $67,000 for a single coin. Of course, this kind of value is reserved for coins that are in pristine, uncirculated condition or those that have rare minting errors, but it's not outside the realm of possibility for collectors who are on the lookout for a hidden gem. How can you tell if you have one of these valuable coins in your possession? First, examine the condition of the coin. If it's well preserved and shows no signs of wear, scratches, or tarnishing, it's definitely worth more than a typical half-dollar. Next, check for any minting errors. If you notice anything unusual, such as an off-center strike or a double image, that could make your coin even more valuable. And finally, don't forget to check the metal content. If your 1972 Kennedy half-dollar is made of 40% silver, it's automatically worth more than a regular copper-nickel version. If you think you found a rare 1972 Kennedy half-dollar, it's worth sending it to a professional grading service to get it evaluated. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin. And if it turns out to be one of those rare minting error coins, you could be holding onto a piece of American history that could make you a pretty penny. The 1972 Kennedy half-dollar is a prime example of how a coin that was once circulated widely can become a rare, valuable collectible over time. Whether you find one in your change jar, discover it in a coin shop, or just happen upon it while sorting through your collection, always take the time to inspect it closely. You never know, you might just be looking at a coin worth thousands of dollars. That's all for today's coin exploration. If you've enjoyed this video and learned something new, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you can stay updated on more exciting coin finds. As always, happy collecting, and good luck on your search for rare treasures.